Hi everyone, welcome back to GoDevOps. Somewhere here, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the Docker daemon. Of course, the Docker daemon isn't the only container daemon that exists, but we're going to talk about this one in this episode because it's the most widely used and the one that most developers start with. And of course, the best way to understand how container daemon actually works. So let's dive in today's episode. So imagine Docker as a restaurant and you, the developer, are the customer at the table. So now think about the waiter as the Docker daemon. So the waiter doesn't cook the food, but they take your order and check if the ingredients are available and make sure that your meal is prepared and served properly. So without the waiter, you'd be shouting directly at the cooks in the back, which is messy and inefficient. So that's exactly what the Docker daemon does. It's actually the middleman that takes your command, like the Docker run command, and turns it into a running container. So at the center of Docker, we actually have the daemon. So it's the brain of the system, and it runs in the background as a service and listens for requests from the Docker command line interface and or the Docker API. And whenever you run a command, the daemon manages the images, creates and starts containers, and connects them to networks and volumes. It also handles images from registries and tracking container lifecycle events. So the daemon does the heavy lifting, so developers can work with Docker at a higher level. Let's now clarify how the Docker client and the daemon interact. So there are two main parts: the Docker command line interface. It's the tool that you use as a developer, and the Docker daemon. It's the background service that does the work. So the command line doesn't actually run containers itself. It just sends API requests to the daemon, and it's usually done over a Unix socket or over TCP. And the daemon receives those requests and handles everything from pulling images, creating containers, attaching networks, and more. So the Docker daemon isn't just one big block. It's made up of several components that each have a job. So we have the API server. This is the entry point. So every command line interface or external tool like Docker Compose or Kubernetes talks to the Docker through this API. We have the image and layer manager, which handles the image downloads, the caching, and the layered file system. It's usually stored with storage driver. We can take the example of overlay 2. We have the network and volume manager, which sets up the virtual networks and manage persistent volumes. We have the plugging system. So it lets Docker extend its functionality with plugins for storage, networking, or logging. Events and logging, so the daemon continuously emits lifecycle events and logs for debugging and monitoring. Now let's walk through what really happens when you type a Docker run command. So first of all, the command line interface sends a request to the daemon over Unix socket, and the daemon checks if the requested image is already available locally. If not, it reaches out to the registry and pulls down all the image layers. And these layers are stored using the storage driver. And next we have the container ID and the runc. that step in to build the file system and set up the namespace and C groups for isolation. So at this point, the container process is started, and it gets its own process ID on the host. And the final step will be the Docker will attach the container to the network and mount the volumes to make it fully functional. So we can see that a single Docker run command actually triggers a carefully orchestrated chain of steps. So all the way from your terminal to a running process. So what you need to take away from this video is that, first of all, the Docker daemon is the control plan of Docker. So it receives commands and orchestrates the container lifecycle. It's built on a modular architecture with separate components for the API, the image, the network management, plugins, and events. We have also Containerization and the runc that handle the actual container execution and isolation. So it's more of the data plane of Docker. And that's it for today's episode. So if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. See you in the next video. So we'll go deeper into container runtime in the next episode. So we'll see what they are, how they differ, and why they matter. And thanks again for watching today's episode. See you. Bye.